Hi all, hi, welcome back to Enemy Action Kharkov Soviet Solo, take 2 part 27 we're up to. We're on to turn 4. Yeah, a few things to talk about. Yeah, something that's come up. A mistake. Yeah, I mean, well, it might be a mistake I've made. We're a little unclear actually. Certainly something I didn't think about, which it's one of the ones that you could just easily just forget about, I think. I might even have mentioned it while talking about it in the rules. Yeah, did end up with a little mistake up here with the policeman. Really annoying, and the reason being is maybe some of the rest of you spotted. We had the 48th Corps guy in that city, and he was covered up by that second SS, and it's away at the top of the map, and yeah, I've just missed it. So Martin's commented he thinks he should be slightly adjusted. He did say that I got them all correct, but I think they just might be just out of order a little bit. Possibly this guy's within 3, so I'm guessing it might be that one. I'm gonna have to rewind it slightly. Yeah, so anyway, let's go through. There's about 4 points to come to mention. First of all, I'm going to have to concede to this thought about when we move this unit from here to here with action step number 3, if in dangerous round, non-VP hex, move to position hex, not in dangerous round. We had the choice of this hex or this hex. And we came down to option preference C, which is if outside unit's army area, closer to area. And yeah, the last time I read that, I mean, I felt like there was a slight pause, and this is what I've replied to Martin, because, well, he's commented that it's worth noting that it doesn't say move closer to army zone, and he's spot on there, really. It shows preferences between different eligible position hexes, and so is a continuation of prefer a position hex that. So he says, prefer a position hex that if outside the unit's army area is closer to the zone, i.e. of the eligible position hexes. And I think he's got that spot on, he's worded it perfectly there. And yeah, I'm on board with it. He does say that said, I agree, it's not 100% clear, so I've added it to the already lengthy list of questions I'll throw at John Butterfield. So he must have a few things he's picked up that he wants to ask. So that's always good to get sorted out as well. But the wording's maybe not the best, but however, it's the omission of the word move. It just says, if outside unit's army area, closer to the area. So you could read that, although I read it and I actually said that literally reading that, but you could literally read it in 2 ways, I think. And in all honesty, maybe I do actually have that completely wrong, and it should be read that between this hex and this hex, this is closer. Even if it's not closer than this, it's closer between these two. However, we ended up in the right hex because I based it on lowest position number, which is one of the preferences further down. But I'll certainly be playing it that way. I'm all on board with that one. Thanks for that, Martin. You've cleared that up for me. Again, maybe just the way I think. But obviously we get a comment from John Butterfield then, so be it, that says otherwise. Right, I'll skip by the one that he discusses in part 24. Part 25, he says it's hard to see on the map, and I've got the impression Martin doesn't actually have the game yet. I think I did read over some comment that he hadn't, but I'm a bit confused by how that's came about. But I've asked him, so you would think he would have had it. He was involved in the play testing, and his name's in the rules somewhere and whatever, and he's been thanked by Mr. Butterfield for his help, and you know, I don't know, that could have nothing to do with it. He's probably having to purchase the game as we all are, and just maybe there's some mix up in things. However, So it says hard to see on the map, but isn't position hex 0320 a lower position number. This is when I moved this unit. Now he's right, but I mean, and I made the excuse that his eyes might be younger than mine. I'm not sure if that's the case or no. I'm not sure where you are in your years, Martin. But I mean, that was my wee get out really, because I didn't think of this hex, to be honest. We moved this unit from here to here to get out of dangerous round. I'm not going to start looking at it again. However, he was in dangerous round. I think it was. Right. I'm not going to start looking at it again, but now I'm looking at it. I'm gonna. Come on, Grant. I think it was this guy coming up and this guy coming down. So we were able to move him here to get him out of dangerous round. Thought that was only hex. However, he could have moved 1, 2, 3, 4 into this hex, and it is indeed position hex 55, which is a preference. It's the same rule that, and it's step 3. Yeah, so it comes down to the last preference is lowest position number, and I think, well, there's an argument for also wondering why that's hex 55 when it's got 100 and something's round about it and 90s and whatever. But they are a bit mixed and a bit random. I guess it might have something to do with because it's close to this city. But this hex right beside it's 92. But however, no, you know what? That's maybe a more important hex if we're talking garrisons or units going in there, because it'll stop. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't actually. We looked at that, didn't we? Because one of the. Oh, don't tell me. Could that be in the part coming up? What did we play last? 4th Panzer Army deployment. Was that the last thing they done? Because I certainly know that we looked at. Oh, you know what it was. I moved this guy from here to here, and then we were also trying to stop proximity from him getting adjacent to this city. And I said, well, if he was active now, we would maybe be able to do that. And I don't think this guy could only get to like here or here, which didn't stop it, did it? Because we could still come round about and into there. So I don't think that would have made the difference it being there. However, that's where it should have been placed. Yeah, you're spot on, Martin. So thanks for that. Hasn't caused any trouble with that one, hopefully. The other big issue won't relate to that at all. So we've got 2 other issues to concern ourselves with: the reserve placements, and the other one which I'm about to get into. Yeah, well, let's fix the reserves first, because the other one I don't know what to do yet. I'm not sure I can move on, or I'm going to have to come to some answer myself. Martin's posted a question on BGG regarding that. I've found some things in the 2-player rules. He was bringing up things in the 2-player rules, but the fact if he's not got the actual game. However, I was able to. I know you can download the 2-player rules, so I downloaded that, and it looks, well, the bit he's been looking at is exactly the same as my rule book. So whether he's maybe just not quite seen, it's basically one word we're talking about. So and he could well be working and whatever now and not able to like look more into that. So I'll leave that one to last anyway, in case we do get something. And yeah, like I say, it's the placement of these reserves with and this was the last activation that the Germans had, wasn't it? It was a deployment, and they were able to deploy, what was it, all 8 units from the 4th Panzer Army that they had in the reserve units box. So he says he's got a timestamp, so I might need to go and look at this, because if I could just follow what he said rather than back it all up. He says, I believe the first 48 core unit should have been placed in hex 1323. I'm wanting to say it's not that one actually. 1323. Oh, it's up here. Okay. Which is the only eligible position that's within 3 hexes from Poltava, Am I proximate to that? Well, I must be. He must have looked at that. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he's spot on, yeah. Okay. Right, and the thing is, when I've been looking at this, I've not realised that this 48 core unit was underneath this, right? I'd like to take them all away and start again, but I'm frightened that I'd then make a mess of it. So should I just go with what he's saying? Well, you could just look back on the video footage, Grant, and try and follow it from there. Well, kind of what he says, which is only eligible position hex that's within 3 hexes from Poltava, where you had the only other 48 core unit in play. And this is where I missed it. It's underneath the 2nd SS. Way at the top of the map, like I say, me looking at it from here. You know, okay, it looks like it's stacked with something, but I've not noticed that. Other than that, I think you have the correct positions, which was great to know and frustrating that I'd just made the mistake because of the unit hiding underneath. He says, if I'm right, you'll have to remove the last placed unit and move it and the other 2 back a step in the list of position hexes you chose. You only have to remove the last placed unit and move it. Oh, right, okay. I'm going to have to go and look at how I've done this, so. Because I can't, well, that's 7, 8, 9, so it must have been this guy. This guy should have been placed up here then, my guess, because he's first to be deployed. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at the video. Well, you've got it here on your tablet, Grant. Right, let's see if we can work this out. Okay, so just looking on the video there. No, hang on. Let me get it right from the beginning. Right, so just try to catch up here. So the first unit, of course, that's the one that actually play covering the city, isn't it? So the first unit goes in here because this guy had been placed here previously and he was only 1 step, so we were able to put him in here. I was going to change a bit. Well, you know what, maybe I will just now. It means I'm hiding the 2nd SS unit now. I try to leave a band at the top, but like I've said, it's right at the top of the map and it's not easy to see. So he was the first placement, so that was all good. Yeah, so, and the reason that guy was picked before the other guy, they both have selector number 1, but this is a lower core than that. So that was the second one that was picked in the city, and that completes the city situation, because he's a 2-stepper now in that city. So we can stop looking at cities. So we have still, this guy's already on the map, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are, I think, are 6 units still to deploy at the moment. And okay, I could take them off the map, but I'm frightened to do that. So I'm just going to carry on with the video and just keep it, you know, just alter it. Okay, so the next one in line is selector number 2. So he's placed in the right spot, we believe. This guy's already here, remember. Just try and think that these guys aren't on the board yet. So he was placed correctly. And then this was the next guy in line, he's unit selector number 6. And I almost had him in here and then realised here was, I think in here he was in dangerous round, but this guy wasn't. And here both of them were not in dangerous round. So it looks like that one's been right as well. Okay, and so here's where I made the mistake when we go to deploy the first of the 3 48 core units, and I put this guy here. I obviously do not spot this guy underneath. Now that's 131 though, Martin would. Now he's saying he would go there, the first one. Why would they not go there first? Right, hang on. You know what? I'm going to take these off the map. So we've still got, no, is it that guy? 7? Will be, yeah. 6, 7. Right, I'm taking him off. Hopefully this doesn't go. make a mess of things here. And then 9, 8. You know what? Give me a cube. Right. This is where these units were. Just to, and I'm going to take this guy off of here. So we're now at the position to deploy selector number 7 on the 48th. This guy here. So just look over it again. Now Martin has said that he thinks he should go in there, which is the only hex within 3, but I'm wondering about this one. So as it's a lower number, but that could be I'm missing something. Hang on. Right, just trying to get a better look at things up here, just to see what's what. Like I say, top of the map. It's not very. Now, this is what that's the one Martin says, which is 158, which is indeed this unit is proximate to it. But what is wrong with this one? Right, it's 131 hex. Now, it could be that it's dangerous around, right? And I think that one might be the case. But we've also got this one. No, sorry, not that one. Because you can't reach that one. I've had a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it's in the woods. It was this one. This could be a dangerous sound as well. Yeah, it could be spot on here, to be honest. Let's just see. This does look like dangerous round. So 1, 2. I'm looking at this hex here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into there. And then this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay, so good stuff. Dangerous round there, and well, you know what? Yeah, that guy. Because these are all within 3 of that core. So yeah, okay. Well, he's yeah. How dare I challenge you there, Martin? So that is the only hex that's within 3 that we're proximate to that is not in dangerous round. Yada yada yada. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because well, this is a higher number, but we're not proximate to anything over that side within 3. What about this one? My guess is that is also in dangerous round. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it is. That's in dangerous round as well. So, okay. So this is where this guy should have went. And I hope you can forgive me that one at least. That is annoying though, because it looks like I got them all right. Apart, well, yeah, you know what I mean. Apart from just not noticing that guy hiding. I mean, he's clearly there now, we can see him. Okay, so where would the next guy go then? Let me just watch on a bit. So the next one's the last guy from the 57th. And he goes, what is it? 1, 2, 2, right. Now why do I have that hex marked? That was one I thought. Yeah, that was obviously in dangerous round as well. Yeah, okay. That was one that I thought. So that guy would then go there. Alright, no. That's, yeah, you've took that one away. Sorry. That's where... Wasn't it? Is that not where we put... No, I'm getting muddled up myself here. No, we deployed selector number 7 from the 48th into here when he should have went there. Ah, right. So the next priority, am I right in saying would have been in there then, Martin? Yeah, this isn't an option, Grant. This one's not an option. So I think he would have taken the place of where that guy would have went. And then the next one. Right, so, yeah, and I think this was the switch the last two about. This one I have deploying in here, which is, both these hexes are where they're going to go, but this one is within 3 of his core. So I think that one goes in there first, and then the final one will go in there. Right. Well, hopefully I've got that right. I didn't really want to go through. I mean, it was hard work getting all them, and rather annoying that I got caught up by something that was just hiding under another counter. But hopefully I've got that right. Please let me know, Martin, or anybody else, if I have. I think. Yeah, because I've got this one out of place. Yeah, these 3 are out of place, and that one up the top, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah. Well, actually, where does the last one end up going then? Or does the last one end up going in there? I think it does. Yeah, that's why that one was marked. That's where the last one ended up going, but because we found this new hex, I think that one just stays empty, and these just move back a step. I'm pretty sure that's what he was basically saying. Let me just double check what his comments were again. So yeah, I believe the first 48 core unit should have been placed in hex 1323. That's facts, which is only eligible position hex that's within 3 hexes from Poltava, where you had the only other 48 unit in play. Other than that, I think you have the correct positions. If I'm right, you only have to remove the last place unit, which would have been in there, and move it and the other 2 back a step in the list of position hexes you chose. So hopefully I've done that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's the fix for that done. Just had another wee quick look back on it there, and I think I've got it right now. So thanks for straightening that out, Martin. I'm still really annoyed that something like that caught me, but you can see, yeah, I don't. It's not one I feel terribly bad about. Just annoyed that I'd got everything else right about it, you know. Okay, so now the one to really talk about that, yeah, I didn't even think about, like I've said. Just give me a sec, just before I check if I've had any more input on what anybody's thoughts are. Right, okay. So yeah, I just got another reply, a comment from Martin on YouTube. But I'll need to explain what we're talking about. He does say he's not got the game yet. There was some issue he's in Sweden and I don't know what's went wrong, so he doesn't actually have the game yet, which is a bit of a shame. Well, you're doing a great job in keeping me right, Martin, even without the game. Yeah, I mean, it's strategic movement, okay, and maybe some of you spotted that. Now I used it earlier in the game, but not any. Well, you know what? Now that I'm actually realising the rule of what we think is correct, I might have used it illegally, and it's about. It's not about how it's used and how much extra movement you get. It's about the restriction that says. I'm looking at, this is the Soviet solo rules, obviously, that's what we're playing. Page 25, 11.5, from turn 2 onwards, Soviet strategic movement bonus, right? But the 4th bullet down says the unit can't enter a hex further west than the westernmost unit in its army, or further south than the southernmost unit in its army, right? Now, I read that. I've read it probably out here when I've been talking about it. I may have even mentioned that's one that can catch you out. Now, I assumed it was similar to Enemy Action Ardennes. Enemy Action Ardennes, you know, I'd like to be able to compare it and get the rules out, but are we complicating things too much there by doing that? Right, okay, I did decide to get my German solo rules for Enemy Action Ardennes out just to have a look. And okay, I know this is a different game, you're saying, and fair enough. I just worried that there might have been a mistake here, although Martin's convincing me that this is not the case. Because, well, the main reason being, as it says, army. Now, these armies are, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the same. You know that, Grant? The enemy action Ardennes had three armies. The Germans had three armies: Fifth Army, Fifth Panzer Army, Sixth Panzer Army, and Seventh Army. And then they had an OKW reserve that were part of one of the three armies. So they only had three armies. And the rules for German strategic movement bonus was the same. A unit may not enter a hex further west than the westernmost unit in its army. Okay, so there's three armies. It can't move any further west. Now, within the armies, there was multiple corps. I'm trying to think of the things here. 5th Panzer Army had, what was it, 6th Panzer Army had 1st SS, 2nd SS. You know, they had different corps. Where in this game, they're all just separate armies. They've not got individual corps within the armies. However, there's two fronts within the Russian side of things, and there's how many armies? 1, 2, is there 3 on each side? I'm wanting to say, is that right? I think so. I think there's 3 armies on each side, whereas in the previous game there was 3 German armies and multiple, maybe 3 corps per army. But the rules are still the same. It's army in both the rules. That's what it says in the rule book. And I just kind of feel like if it was going on... Now, the scale of this game is shown to be different. We're seeing that. And I guess I just thought, once this came up, and Martin brought it up thinking... I think his first comment was, I made a mistake here, because I moved this unit from 40th Army with strategic movement further west than any unit in its army, you know, and I shouldn't be able to do that with strategic movement. And I was like, when he first said it, I thought, oh, I forgot all about the restriction of it going further west and going further south, isn't it? And I thought, oh right, I made a mistake. But then the first thing that popped in my head was, surely it's not army, surely it's front. Surely I can move with strategic movement as far west as a unit within the front, which is that guy away up there at the moment. Now that feels to me like it when you use strategic movement when enemy actually Ardennes, it felt like that didn't really come into it that often. Sometimes the 47 core units, you'll try to push them on through the middle, and yes, on occasion you thought, right, I can't use strategic movement there, but it just feels like it should be front, but this is different scale, so maybe not. Now, in the rules, within the Soviet rules, it does talk about army throughout it. Hang on. And even in the example of play on page 26, there's no issues there. It talks about army. It says that a certain unit cannot move further west because a unit in its own army restricts it from that movement. So, you know, the example there does seem to say. However, the 2-player rules are where things, and I know we're not playing the 2-player game here, but this is where things kind of like, this is where Martin got his thoughts about. At first he thought I was wrong, and then his comment is, I first thought you made a mistake here, but you might have done it correctly after all. Either way, it made me unsure about what the strategic movement restrictions really mean. The unit can't enter a hex further west than the westernmost unit in its army, or further south than the southernmost unit in its army. What does that mean if the unit is the westernmost or southernmost unit? And what he's saying is there, if we start there, this is the westernmost unit in its army. So does that mean he cannot use strategic movement at all? These guys can up until they reach the most western point of a unit in its army, which is there, and then they'd have to not be able to use strategic movement, so a bit of a waste of time there. He says, or is it free to move as it wants? Well, he says, is it free to move as it wants, or is it not allowed to move strategically? And I get the feeling that if going by all this, then no, you wouldn't be able to strategically move that, and that's what I've done. So if that's the case, then that's an illegal move. But he's basing it on an example in the 2-player rules, okay? And he's posted on BGG the question. But the 2-player, did I bring them up? No, I didn't. That was clever. Right, I've got a copy of them on. Right, and then if you look at the 2-player rules on page 12, yeah. Page 12, it's got the examples of strategic movement. And the example in there, C, it's example C. And the very last part says, the unit also can't enter hex 0413 because Soviet units can't use strategic movement to go further west than the westernmost unit of their front. Right, I highlight the word front. So, and even an example, it's got a unit that is off the same front, meaning it's just a coloured unit off that front. It doesn't really specify this. Whereas, don't get me wrong, in the solo rules, it's got a unit from 3rd Tank Army, and it's saying that that unit's restricting that unit from moving any further west strategically. But this example in the 2-player rules, I can only say this is wrong. And Martin, and I've went back and forward a little bit, and he has said that they had playtest rules that did say that it was army and not front. Well, if you're looking at the 2-player rules, that's going to give you some. That example is going to. It must be wrong. It must be wrong. But when I seen that, I thought, oh, maybe I'm right. Maybe it is front. You know, so. So there's a bit of confusion here as to what it is. And then, I went back, I started thinking it was front, and he said there was an example in the playtest rules that made it clear that it should be army, and then he's not sure why it didn't make it to the actual 2-player rules. So I've kind of concluded that it must be army, and I'm going to have to reverse some of this movement. Fortunately, this was our last impulse, wasn't it? No, it wasn't, Grant. What did we do? I've got the 6th Army card and the 69th Army card. Yeah, but that was made, and then they used the assault coordination. Oh. Oh no, this was the last impulse. That was the last impulse of the turn 3, wasn't it? You know what? I don't think it's. I don't think it could cause a problem. The only annoying factor is I'm either going to have this city empty, or I would have to reverse some of that. And you know what else though? I moved a couple of these units strategically as well. So it could indeed be that they're wrong as well. So this might not be so good. But I have to say, I didn't even think about it when I was doing it. It would have then brought up my question. I mean, I would have then said, well, is it not front? Because that's really restrictive. Because, you know, I couldn't have moved this unit at all strategically at the time, because I think he was the most. Well, maybe he wasn't the lead unit, but I certainly wouldn't have been able to move him that far west. So something feels a bit off about it, but I don't know, maybe it's been looked at, and according to Martin, it does appear to be that the playtest rules version of the game, the strategic movement rules were army. That was the word, that was what it should have been. So I mean, surely that would have been picked up, you would think, and adjusted if it hadn't been correct, you know. Yeah, and just to finish off, like I said, I don't know if I read his latest comment. It says there was an example in the playtest rules where it was made clear that it should be army and not front, and then he says not sure why it didn't make it to the real thing. Well, within the actual rule, Martin, I think is it 7.51 I quoted, it talks army. It's only within that example and it's only the one time you see the word front. But I'm saying that the example in the book, the actual, if you look at the example, it's kind of made clear that it does mean front, and I think this is why you're wanting to ask your question, because that doesn't make sense, does it? Or it brings up some doubts and whatever. Okay, we're 35 minutes into this video, so what I think I'm going to do is just put this one out here. I mean, I'm not finished yet, that's the thing. I'm going to put this one out here just as a bit of a fix. I'll make that clear in the comments, so if any of you don't want to see any of this, then you can just skip on by to part, what's it, 28 it'll be. However, I mean, I find some of this quite interesting, but you know, some of you might not. But you are going to have to understand that some of these units are maybe not going to be exactly where they are. I'm going to have to reset the 40th Army. Yeah, again, I could just say, well, just let it go, but I don't feel like that's right here, because I mean, it's more than likely, I think I moved these strategically. What I think I could have done was probably push this guy. I mean, I want to say 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on. He made it there in 5.5 movement points. I want to say it was maybe somewhere like there. No, there maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, maybe it was there. So I think it was there, and I went 1, 2, 3, and then I strategically moved them 4, 5. No, because I think he ended up in 5.5. However, I done it. However it was done, I think I could have him end in here, which maybe would mean these guys could strategically move up to here, because they're not going any further west than this guy. So maybe that's all I need to do to fix that. That would be good. So I'll try and see. And he's obviously the first guy that does move. And like we're saying, going by the rules that he can't move any further west than any of his army units, then he's not going to be able to move strategically, okay? Which I'm still going to, yeah. That it makes, well, whether that rule was better than it was in Ardennes maybe, and I've had to tone it down, because it makes it really restrictive. What I said to Martin was, it just means you're going to have to push your mechanised. Yeah, I get, you know what? It does give your infantry a chance to catch up. That's what it does. I mean, I can move this guy's 6 movement. I don't need to care about strategic movement. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even if I go up to there, I can then strategically move these, giving them the extra 2 movement to catch up. So yeah, I think my major issue here is going to be, I'm going to be one short of reaching this city. I think I'm going to be in here. Now, we had a 3rd tank unit in there, but I remember deliberately getting everybody over here because I thought I had an attack on, well, you know what? My attack was going to be on this guy here, but look at what's in front of us now, because of these reserves. Now, the 2nd SS didn't activate, and I don't think, I mean, you know, I could just make it easy on myself, and I suppose I was worried about this guy coming down to the city. But couldn't I just make it easy myself? What is their, the wrong glasses on. What is their action step regarding that? Is this not the one that? No, that was only an action steps 1 and 2, wasn't it? No. Yeah. No, if starting alone in a VP hex to which a Soviet unit's proximate. Well, I might be. If I was in that hex, which I think I am, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, you know what? Even if I'm there, he's starting alone in a VP hex, which I'm proximate to. He's not going to move. So maybe I can just take that fear away from myself by, yeah. Right, let's. Yeah, the other thing is, I do recall making a strategic movement with one of these guys, with these guys too, so I'm going to have to look at that as well. Well, let's deal with this first, because that happened at the end of the turn, so, but I can't see anything that could you know, cause a problem by me moving it back, because I don't think second SS. I mean, within this turn, that was our last impulse. I can't recall what the Germans' last impulse was. I want to say it was a Core Rouse card that was drawn. I could be wrong. It was a Core Rouse was the first card that they drew. What did they do with that? Don't think. They activated the units. Yeah, I think a guy got out of dangerous round. Well, in fact, was that not when we moved this guy? Oh, okay. You know what? I can't remember. Second card I've got as second SS card, but that was used for battlefield replacements and one of combat. So they drew that a combat tactic, and then the third card was to deploy all these reserves. So yeah, it doesn't seem that anything could be affected by me making an adjustment here. And if need be, here, kind of hoping that I don't have to here, but I feel like these units have maybe moved one hex too far. So what that would then mean is I maybe need to adjust and put the armoured units back, because I don't want to leave that town empty. That would be a bit silly to be around about and leave it empty. Right, let's go and see if I can fix it. And yeah, so just looking at the starting positions of bring that full screen of the 40th Army units, and they are all down there. This guy is indeed in that position number 29, and he's ahead of the other guys. In fact, all the other infantry, well, I think he's stacked with something else, and then which I can't see what it is, and then the other infantry are behind. So just to keep this simple, I'm going to say that he wasn't allowed strategic movement. Oh, don't tell me though. If I go there, can this guy go 1, 2, 3? Oh no, hang on, he's breaking zone of control. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he can't reach it. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he can't reach. I was just thinking, if he gets a move, it's going to back up there. So I'm going to say that, remember, all these guys were around here as well. I'm going to say that I couldn't strategically move this guy. If we find out things later on or not that, but it's looking like that's how they wanted the rules this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. I'm getting 2 hexes behind. Does it matter? I wouldn't have been able to move the infantry anywhere near it anyway. Well, I kind of want to move it there, because then they can move as far as where that guy is strategically, don't I? But here's the thing. Oh no, come on. That can't be right. Because it's not only western, it's southern. Well, that's completely messing things up. I'm going to put that guy back there now, because if I can't, if all these units are here and I want to move that guy even not strategically up to here, I cannot move these other units to the south of this hex line strategically. That's the rules, isn't it? It's eastern and southern. The unit can't enter a hex further west than the westernmost unit in its army, or further south than the southernmost unit in its army. Ah, well, that's... yeah. I'm not sure this rule is even worthy of... I mean, it would mean I would have to keep this guy over this way, going south. Unless it's wanting to try and get you doing that. Well, we had one other infantry in there. Would he be able to strategically get anywhere near that city if I move this unit away down here somewhere? 1, 2... You can't even go in there, can he? You get 6 movements, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So admittedly, I could have him where I was putting the armoured unit, the mechanised unit. And where would the mech go then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He would go into here, wouldn't he? Yeah, okay. And then I would be able to strategically move this guy to here with the mech unit being there, so then he wouldn't be any further east than the mech unit, and he wouldn't be further south than the mech unit. Yeah, I don't know, this is... I just hope that I don't try and adjust all that, and for some reason Mr. Butterfield comes back and says, oh, right, that should be front and not army. I mean, don't get me wrong, if it was front, you'd be quite free to be able to do an awful lot more, wouldn't you? So, and yeah, going by what Martin says, it was clear that it was meant to be army and not front. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to have to... Well, you know what I could do taking a break just now? That might let the dust settle and possibly spawn some kind of answer for Martin's question on BGG anyway. Maybe John will spot it and put some... enlighten us a bit. And then, like I say, I don't think this part's going to have any gameplay. Okay, I'll take a break for now, but hopefully I'll have hopefully I'll have all this sorted and fit it into the last part of this part. What was it? 27, I think. Okay, I'll be back soon, guys. Cheers. Hi all. Right, back to try and sort out this bit of a muddle that we're in. No more comments or replies to Martin's question or anything back from Martin suggesting anything that might get us out of this. Like I said, I thought it might be in a straightforward case just moving this guy back to here so that then we could still strategically move these guys, but as these guys are further south than this guy, that wouldn't work. So I'm going to reset the 40th Army units. Now it's not going to affect... Now the only thing being, I might consider... Well, like I've said, I don't think there's any danger of this guy coming down here. I might still consider, because I think I need to look at the 3rd tank units as well, because like I said, some of them might strategically have moved wrongly. So it's just we did have a 3rd tank unit in there. Possibly might rewind that movement as well. Because all we did, this was the very last impulse. And I want to say, no, was it the last impulse? Yeah, hang on here. Ah, yes, of course, right. This is the first card of turn 4 we played. We activated 3rd tank, basically just to make all these movements, so that's good. The second impulse we made of this turn was to activate 6th Army. We had a couple of attacks, we used assault coordination. That was down in these areas here. We managed to take the guy out that was there. We managed to retreat this guy and disperse him. Right, okay. So yeah, so me, the fact that 3rd tank army units have only moved, and then these guys have only moved, I can probably reset these without doing any harm at all. So going to reset the 40th army units first and have a look at what our options might be, what the best thoughts might be now that we're trying to follow the rules properly, you know. Okay, that's where the guys started. Like I say, there was nothing really in the way to bother them at all. There was a 3rd tank army unit in there, but no enemies to concern ourselves with. These 3rd tank army units were back in around Kharkov more. So, if we want to move our infantry with strategic movement, then this guy has to stay as far. He needs to be the westernmost finisher, and also the southernmost and the westernmost finisher. And so that base, and I can't move him strategically going by because he would be going further than the most western or southern unit, so he's not allowed to do it. And yeah, there's something niggling. There's something niggling about it, but okay, right. Well, let's just believe that that's how it is, Grant. So the best we can do would be move him this way this time rather than up that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was not with strategic movement. That was a legal way of doing it. And now it would let us strategically move these as long as we keep them within this hex line here and this hex line here. They cannot go outside that area with strategic movement, because this is a guy that's furthest west and furthest south. Okay, so I'm still not 100% sure this is the best way to do it. In fact, should I maybe just move my units like normally? Well, I did think I could get a guy here, so how about that then? Will we just take the 2 strength unit? Well, we've still not seen the Soviets exposed card, have we? However, he's going to get the furthest. 1, 2, yeah, because of this woods here, but there's no other great way of doing it, is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you know what? He could get to there. Well, actually, he's not allowed to get there because that is going to be slightly more western than that. So that is the hex I can finish in. So it doesn't really matter if I do it. Well, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. So it's got to be this guy. So strategic move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now he's as west as that guy, and he's not south of that guy. So that is legal. So I suppose we could just push him that way to try and cover Belgorod. Like I say, he is just the 2 strength. So, but we are anticipating the 69th Army moving up. But I just don't feel like I should leave this completely empty. You know. There is 3, not just that 2nd SS unit. There's a couple of Rouse units there too. Okay, we've worked it out that going by the action steps, this guy wouldn't move from here to here, but who's to say there's not some card that we might draw, an action card that might do something that breaks these rules, It's possible. I don't know. Well, I can't get into the city now anyway. And like I say, if I find I've got to rewind these 3rd tank units, I might even just consider leaving that guy back there. But I think I'm going to have to reset them as well. I'll look over the video first to see how I strategically move, but my guess is I probably broke the rules with that as well, because it's very restrictive. It really is. So yeah, it's maybe that's how it's meant to be, but it is restrictive. Right, okay, so if we were going to carry on, well, these guys would be... No, actually, I don't think any's as close as the other, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, yeah, we can get to there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't all get into there. So I think I ended up with a couple of them in there, didn't I? When we finished. Yeah, just looking at things, I think I ended up maybe with 1 unit in there. So what I'll do is I'll move the 3 strength and 4 strength. 1, 2, 1. This is with still strategic movement. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, he's not going any further west than the most western unit in the army, and it's not going any further south. And that guy's going to do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then these guys would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Finish just behind him. So again, not going any further south. So I'm just going to shimmy them up there, hopefully. Right, now making a mess. Right. Okay. So that would then make that strategic movement legal, which, to be honest, if you, well, not really, is it? Because I'm just looking at the video, what I end up with is all my infantry in these 3 hexes, but the bit that we do have better is we've got the mechanised unit in Belgorod and in the actual city. But that's the only bit that's different, to be honest. Well, apart from the mech units here and the infantry units here. That infantry unit should, well, the way I've done it, the infantry unit was there and the mech unit was in the city. So that's the difference between what I've had to do. So it does keep the infantry up with this mech unit. So that's clearly the way you're going to have to do it. Move your mech unit. Obviously, you're not going to be able to move your mech units very often with strategic movement because they're probably going to be the furthest. Hey, don't get me wrong, if I had another mech unit from 40th Army away up here, yes, I might well be able to use it, but it's unlikely. It's more likely that it's giving your infantry a chance to catch up, which might have been the complete intention. As you can see, these infantry units have been able to stay with the mech unit, and that might be what they wanted to do compared to the old rule. Well, I say compared to the old rules, and again, that just could have been a scale thing, but it didn't feel as restrictive, certainly, in Ardennes, so there's that. Right, okay, well, let's go with that then, and we shall hope that we still control that city. That the second SS unit doesn't decide that, oh yeah, I can still pop down there and take that, it's sitting empty. But we do, oh no, we do have a 69th Army card. No, we don't, Grant, because we used that for assault coordination. And I don't have a 40th Army card in my hand, so I've got the Vornes front, which could potentially activate either this army or this army, but that would be a weak use of that card. Right, I'm going to now look at the footage, and this was from the very first impulse. Bearing in mind, we've only had 2 impulses this turn 4, but the very first of the 2 impulses was this. The second one was a 6th Army, shouldn't be involved in anything that we've got. And then in between the 2 impulses, the Germans did what? Yeah, they mucked about with, that was, they activated Core Rouse. Is that not when they moved that guy up there, I think? I'll maybe catch it in the video and we'll see. Okay, well, no, hang on, give me a sec. Right, I think I've worked out a way of getting away with this, with the 3rd tank. And I'll show you in a sec. So I'm going to reset the movement of the 3rd tank. Now, again, all they did was move. There was not any shenanigans in between. Okay, these reserves have popped up since. I'm not going to try and say, oh, well, I don't want to go up there now because they're there now, because that is new information. I'm going to attempt to reset it into as the same position it is, and I think I can probably do it. But I just need to show you how. And if for some reason I can't, then I will be trying to keep them as close as possible to that, because my intention was to get up to this town and threaten this guy here. So I've got to just imagine the other guys aren't there yet, and just, I mean, I was looking up the reserve box knowing that there was a chance that they might start appearing somewhere, but I didn't know where they were going to be. So let me reset things first. Okay, that's when you got things reset, and so the big things are, this guy's came down, he had went up to the town, the town here. Now I've already got it marked, so, but that's part of the first part of the puzzle, so I'm leaving the marker there. This was the guy that was in Belgorod, so I suppose I've already said that I'm going to move the units, because I have found some new information regarding all these units, you know, and I don't want to, like, I mean, you can see my thinking about trying to leave some back in this. Well, you know what? No, it's my bad. Well, the thing with this one is, I think I can do this. If I do it in a different order, I don't think I'm going to break the rules. I don't think so, and I'll show you why. Yes, okay. So that's as it was, right? Now, we end up with, I've had to write a few things down there, we end up with unit 17, 23 and 15. So this guy, and then, where is he? Is in here? The bottom one of there, yeah. This guy. So they weren't, he was stacked there, right? Okay. I'm just trying to find out, these were the 3 units that end up in the actual town. So what I'm going to do just now doesn't really affect this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's moving his normal movement. So let's just not mess about. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. I'll just put him on top now. We're going to have to dig down and get that guy anyway. Now, I'm going to strategically move this guy. Right. Now, as long as I don't cross over that going further south, or that line there going further west, I can get this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're in the same place, right? And I'm going to do the same with this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now we're overstacked in that hex, but we can be overstacked until it comes to the end of the movement phase. Then we would have to eliminate units, blah blah blah, and all that, right? However, now we've got these units in here, right? We can, in fact, to be honest, once the first one was in there, I could bolt with other guys, couldn't I? So we end up with 23 in there and 17 and 15, and that's how I have it finishing. So nothing's changed there, and we've not broke the rules. So now once the guys reach there, I don't care about this guy and get this guy out of the way, because these guys are in this hex anyway. This is going to be the hex that decides strategic movement from now anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's in the town. So that's the same. Ugh. I'll stretch. Ah. You have to be so fussy about getting it all lined up, Grant, don't you? Right, so that's where we're at there now. Now that satisfies Valky, right? Okay, no, don't score that one out, Grant. Right. Unit 33 ends up in Kharkov. That's the one that's down the bottom here, right? So he's going to just have moved into Kharkov. Not a problem there. I'm not going to tilt him or anything, but that's where he finishes. That's going to carry on like that. Right, okay. I'm trying to look at the video and I don't think I need to. Right, these 2 guys end up in the same hex. Selector number 9, selector number 5. They end up in 1115, which is here. So they strategically move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now again, they aren't breaking the rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They haven't moved south of any units. Oh, actually, I forgot this guy is here. So he's going to count for the south side of it actually. So we could have actually got into that hex, but that's where we ended them, and that's where we're keeping them. And he's obviously not going any further west. And this guy was going to join them, same strategic movement. So we are getting away with this because the other units are mechanized units. So, and I didn't strategically move them, I don't believe. I might have attempted to move this one, but there's a good chance he would be able to. Right, let me just look. Well, where does he end up? I wrote it down, didn't I? So that was 5 and 9, they're in 1115, right, okay. He's 20, he's in 1215, which is, ooh, it's in there. So he must have moved strategically, did he? Right, we all look at the video. Okay, yeah, I ended up first with the units in here and then I change it. Right, okay. So fortunately this guy being here is going to allow me to do this. This guy from Belgorod is going to strategically move, and this is what he does. Half a point per hex, because I'm going by road strategically. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then I'm going to move. That's obviously not a road, so but I've got 1 movement point left, so I'm going to move in there. Now that doesn't move me any further west past these guys, and because this guy's here, it doesn't move me any further south because he's further south. So we get away with that one. So he goes in there, and then I move these two infantry units, these two mechanised units as well. 1, 2, 3, and I just decide to stack them together in there. And they didn't move strategically anyway. However, it wouldn't have mattered because of the way we'd done it. Now, the only thing that had been wrong within the movement, I moved this guy first. And by moving this guy first, oh no, I would have been okay, wouldn't I? Yeah, I would have been okay. And I didn't strategically move him. Well, I couldn't have done because he was entering an enemy town at the end. So I knew I couldn't do that. But actually, it wouldn't have mattered. I could have left that completely alone. So I think that's how everything finished. Yes, we've got this issue with the city here. So, alright, good. That wasn't as bad as I thought then. 1913. Oh, no, I'm not finished yet. This guy ends up in here. So, well, you know what? I'm just going to put him in there. And 1, 2, 3. He's not. I think he was just moving up so that. He moved up to be adjacent to the garrison. That was it. So in actual fact, I couldn't move them the way I'd done it. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 into the woods, 5, and he would have to stop there. That's right. I think initially I put him there, and I thought, well, wait now, I can get him there, more that side. So that is exactly how they were anyway. So it's not that I've tried to manipulate my units into a better place because of all this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to start seeing some action, I think, over there. Yeah, I don't know. And we're on 18 victory points, so I tell you what, none of that stuff in there is going to be viable for us to try and get, I don't think. And also, it didn't end up terribly great down here, did it? Because we got 1, 2, there's another guy up there, I think. We got 3 of the 40 core units deploying down here. And this is where we kind of had 3 possible victory points. I'm going to have to double check about the hex side ones. My understanding is I need a unit in the hex and be able to trace supply with it at the time we check victory points. So I could see that being, this is probably a better area to try, I think. I think so. Because we've got 3 victory points on this one bit. We've got pop-off, we've got the main. The only downside is that the 6 army units got caught across there, so yeah, whether we've got time for them to come across and help or not, I don't know. That was maybe a distraction going across there, wasn't it? Yeah, anyway, okay. Right, okay, I think I've got back up to speed. Hopefully nothing comes back and says that we could have done it there. Well, you know what? If I found out right now that I could do it the other way, right, if for some reason it is meant to be front and not army, I will allow myself to move this infantry unit into here and move this mechanised unit into Belgorod, alright? And everything else is as is, I believe. I think. I might be wrong. Okay, well, like I said, that's probably over an hour's worth of me just trying to fix things, talk about things and whatever. So I'll put a note in the header and we'll just put this down as one of these parts where it's talking about some things and fixing a couple of things, and yeah, and if you're not wanting to see any of that, then you can, if you do check the headers, which I do recommend you do, just in case. Sometimes I mention wee things about certain errors that have been made, so it's worthwhile having a look before you start watching it. And if you see, oh, it's Grant just putting things the way they should, then we'll just skip on to the next part. But you might see things out of place, that's all. But if you're watching this at the very end, then me telling you this, yeah, makes no sense. Okay, right, I'm hoping to get an impulse in, so hopefully I'll be back shortly. Okay, cheers.